Being on a Disney vacation. Fun, magical, heartwarming. Planning a Disney vacation. Stressful, complicated, overwhelming. But what if I told you it didn't have to be that way?
When it comes to planning, you have to think about tickets, dining reservations, hotel reservations, Genie, and more. And I know even I still get overwhelmed when it comes to putting everything together, so let's walk through the process of everything you need to know. Okay, when you're starting to plan your Disney trip, it can actually be really kind of hard to figure out where to start. So we're gonna start with where we always recommend starting. And that's kind of figuring out how much you're willing to spend, talking budget. We all know Disney World can get a little expensive. And when I say a little, I mean a lot. It's a lot expensive if you're not careful. So kind of figuring out how much you wanna spend and how much time you wanna spend there and like what your budget is looking like is where you need to start before you do anything else. Because then if you start planning and you don't have a budget, you're like, this is so fun. Oh, I spent $5,000. And we don't want that to happen. So let's budget first. But before you can even budget, you need to understand some classic Disney World vocabulary. If you're not already a Disney adult and it seems weird to you, we understand because we have special vocabulary that you need to know. First up, if you don't already know what a cast member is, this one's pretty basic. It's just a Disney World employee, but we call them cast members because that's cooler. It's not cooler. It's just what Walt called them. Next up is My Disney Experience. So that is the free app that you can download on your phone, and you're gonna need it because it has everything. It's where you're gonna find times, park maps, dining reservations, your hotel information, like your tickets, everything. My Disney Experience, MDE for short sometimes, you're gonna need it. Genie Plus, we talk about this all the time. This is Disney's like skip the line service. It's a little bit of an extra fee. It's a lot of bit of an extra fee some days on top of your normal park ticket per person. So Genie Plus, skip the lines. Lightning lanes, so you pay for Genie Plus, you skip the lines, and the thing that you have to grab is called a lightning lane. So that is like when you buy Genie Plus, you get access to lightning lanes. Individual lightning lanes is in a different tier of Genie Plus. It's a third thing, separate from Genie. And it is one lightning lane, one line you get to skip per person, per park, another fee. So we're talking 2 fees. So a VQ or a virtual queue is actually something that you're gonna get on My Disney Experience, and that is a special line that you have to join on the app so that way you can get access to either Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind or Tron. It's the only way you can get onto those 2 rides is either by buying an individual lightning lane or going through a virtual queue. ADRs, if you've ever heard anyone talk about an ADR, that's an advanced dining reservation. It's your reservations. A quick service is just a walk-up food stop, real fast. You can mobile order, it's easy. Mobile ordering's on My Disney Experience too. You're gonna need it. Table service is just where it's a sit-down dining option that is almost always gonna require a reservation, or they're highly recommended. And then finally, people will talk about things called magic bands. This is a magic band. You wear it on your wrist. It's quite simple. And this is your tickets, this is your lightning lane, this is how you can get into your room. It's not necessary. You can always have that physical pass that you can go grab at guest relations, or sometimes they'll come in the mail to you. But this is just nice, it's convenient. It is an upcharge. You used to get them for free at resorts, you don't anymore, but I really love all of my magic bands. Emma in the living room with budgeting. You think I know the most about budgeting? Okay. Okay, so supposedly I know the most about budgeting. I got my big mic so that way I seem a little bit more serious, and I also have my accountant here with me. You can really trust us. So budgeting can be really, really hard for Disney World because it can get really overwhelming. There's a lot to do and you're not really sure like where you want to start. So we honestly recommend figuring out how much money you want to spend before you ever start planning, and definitely before you ever get to Florida. By setting a budget and kind of pre-planning and having those expectations, you can really know how much you're going to spend, so that way when you get here, you're not as overwhelmed by everything and you can kind of relax a little bit more and not have that like financial fear that can kind of build if you don't really know how much you're spending, when, where, why. Now, we can't choose your budget for you. You have to be able to choose your budget. We can't pick your budget, but we can give you a few tips that will help you with your budget. So first off, do some park days and some pool days. Going to the parks every single day can get really expensive because tickets are pricey. I think we can all agree, tickets are pricey. So sometimes just going to the pool at your resort that you're already paying for, it's gonna help you save some cash. And I know, if you're anything like me, you're like, I'm going for the parks, I get it. But it's still a vacation, and maybe you should just sit and relax one day. Have you considered that? I know I haven't. Another way to save money is skip that park hopper ticket if you're gonna go for multiple days. So the thing is if you're going for multiple days, you can go to each park once, or 3 of them, or however many you choose. And if you don't pay for the park hopper, you're gonna save cash because that park hopper is more expensive. So you might wanna go to Magic Kingdom and Epcot, just do it 2 separate days if you're gonna be there for longer, or just do one day, one park hopper ticket. Like there's a balance and you have to be able to choose. Like don't do a park hopper every day if you're gonna go to all 4 parks anyways. Another one, and this is one that I live by, is buy your Disney gift cards slowly as you're leading up to your trip. So what I used to do before we moved here is I would budget in like $25 or $50 every other time I'd go to the grocery store. And so it was in my grocery budget. And by the time I'd get here, I'd have a few $100s in Disney gift cards kind of all racked up that I had already been slowly buying. So that way when I got here, I wasn't spending hundreds of dollars at once. You can also buy your Disney gift cards in bulk at discounts. So places like Sam's or Target or Costco will have like a pack of 3 $100 Disney gift cards, but you can buy them for $275. So you're getting $25 free or however much. And yeah, $25 might not seem like that much, but that's like a meal, free souvenir. And you're gonna spend $300 anyway, so you might as well get the free stuff. Now, one thing I will say is you should probably consider actually skipping the Disney dining plan. I know that feels a little weird because in the past, at least, it used to be a little bit more worth the money, but if you wanna know why I'm saying that, we have a full guide to the Disney dining plan up on the channel right now since it's returned, and it's not always gonna be worth it, point blank. Another thing, bring your own food and groceries. That is actually something that can really help save you money because Disney World food is so expensive. It is ridiculous sometimes, especially if you have a big family to feed. So you can use things like Kroger grocery pickup and they will actually deliver it to your resort. You can eat at your resort and you can just save a little bit of money that way for breakfast and dinner and snacks. Another thing is consider buying your souvenirs ahead of time. So that probably doesn't sound like as much fun, at least if you're like me, you're like, but I want to buy it there. And I get that, but if you have kiddos and you know that they're gonna want that Mickey Mouse plush, buy it at Target or buy it at Walmart. It's the same Mickey Mouse plush, your kids will not know, and it will save you money. So that way, if you wanna buy something you can only get in the parks, you won't feel as bad later. I know when my friends were younger, their parents would stock up for months on little Disney souvenirs that they could get at places that were cheaper, and every morning they would open their door and they would have a bag from Mickey, and it would have all of these little souvenirs that they would have saved over the course of a year. And the kids were really excited because they thought they were getting stuff from Mickey Mouse, and it was financially easier on the parents to do it slow and steady rather than buying the kids a ton of stuff every single day. You can also consider staying off property. Now, this is something that some people love, some people don't. There are times that you feel like maybe you're missing out on something at Disney World. They do still offer that free transportation, which is really nice back to your resort, but sometimes it's so expensive, it is not always worth it. So just consider staying off property, or if you're anything like me and you still want that perk of the free transportation and being close to Disney, definitely consider one of the Good Neighbor hotels, which are the Disney Springs Resort hotels. They are a lot cheaper. They're not always Disney themed, but you're closer, and a lot of times they do offer transportation to and from the parks. So definitely consider that. Quincy has done full videos all about Good Neighbor resorts up on the channel right now. And finally, remember to check out those free kiddo activities spread all throughout Disney World. There's a lot of free things in Disney World that maybe you're not thinking about, like the Kid Cot activities over in Epcot, or even just getting little celebration buttons. There's a lot of things that you can do to make you feel more at Disney without kind of spending that Disney budget, that Disney price. So those are probably my favorite and best tips, but now that we're ready to budget, we definitely need to talk about picking your dates, because that is also going to impact your budget and how much you have to spend. So let's head back to Emma at the bookshelf. So once you do have your budget set, this is where the real fun comes into play. This is where we're gonna start figuring some stuff out. So when it comes to those slow times in Disney World, when you're trying to pick like, when do I wanna be there? There's not really like a slow time anymore like there used to be. Like there used to be dead periods, like nobody was there. And since COVID and the pandemic, we really haven't seen that quite as much. There are still slower seasons, but in the past few years, it's just not been as drastic as it used to be. So when you're kind of looking for those slower times, normally you can kind of see about like the first week after the new year. So like that first week of January, kind of going into President's Day before that weekend. However, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm filming this at the end of the first week of January and the crowds were crazy. So hopefully they'll start to drop off and then we'll have until at least February, like President's Day. Then sometimes we have seen a lull the week following Thanksgiving right up until like a week or two before Christmas. There's like a few weeks in that period where people are kind of waiting. It's not like a super slow period, but crowds are gonna ebb and flow. And if that's when you wanna see holiday decor, it's not a bad time to be there. Finally, from the end of August until about October is when things are a little bit lulled comparatively to like the summer and things, because school has started back, people are busy. But if you're willing to take your kids out of school, which honestly, I highly recommend, that's like a core memory for them. If we're gonna talk about just like my personal favorite time to be here, it is right in like February, the beginning of February. The weather is perfect. It's a little chilly at night, but it's warm during the day. The crowds are a little bit lower. It's so good. And also my favorite Joffrey's coffees are the Valentine's Day editions. So bonus points. All of that being said, if you're still looking at the summertime, no worries. You can still have fun even if it is more crowded. As long as you're cool with a little bit of heat and a little bit more crowds, you can still have a super fun time when you're here in Disney World. It really is all about mentality and what you're prepared for. And we have a ton of perfect days on crowded days. We have tons of Genie information, like anything that you might need to get through those crowded days. We have recommendations and tips up on the blog and on the YouTube channel right now, so you can go check those out. And now that we kind of have our budget set, we know when we're going, let's go pick our hotel. Emma, at the resorts. There are so many different resorts here to choose at Walt Disney World, and this is definitely where budget is going to come into play, because some are more inexpensive and others, this one right behind me, can get pretty pricey. So you can actually pick between a value, a moderate, or deluxe resort here at Disney World, and they are definitely going to be the 3 tiers of pricing, with value being the most valuable, moderate being right there in the middle, and deluxe being, of course, a little bit more deluxe, a little bit more luxury, a little bit higher end. Now, if you're going for deluxe, there's going to be quite a price increase, but the rooms are going to be bigger, there's going to be more amenities, and you're probably going to be closer to a park more than likely. So obviously budget is going to play a huge part in what you're picking and why, but there are also other things to consider outside of just how much money you're paying. So when picking your resort, you're going to need to consider things like pools, proximity to the park, how big is the resort, transportation to the hotels, and even what dining is offered at these resorts. Depending on what you value and how big your budget is really going to depend on what tier you should put yourself in when you're picking your resort. If you're still not entirely sure kind of where you want to go and you want a little bit more about each resort, Quincy has a full tour of every single Disney World resort up on the channel right now that you can go check out. And if they are a little bit too long, like if you're doing something quickly, we also have a What You Need to Know series that we have just started, and we have a ton of resorts already up on the channel that is bite-sized info as well. And all of those are going to help you determine which one you need to stay in when you're coming to Disney World. So if you are looking for a more budget-friendly option though, I actually do love looking into the Disney Springs resorts. These are hotels that partner with Disney World, and they are called Good Neighbor. They kind of offer some proximity to Disney Springs, but don't necessarily have all of those Disney features. But I actually really love it, especially when I'm balling on a budget. You're close to Disney Springs. A lot of them do offer transportation. One of them even has a Joffrey's. Like, I am just a really big fan if you are looking for a more budget-friendly resort option near Disney World. So now that we have our resort, we've come back home so that way we can go ahead and book it. And let's talk about what that looks like. So you can actually do that one of 2 ways. The first way is my preference, and that is through the Disney World website online. So first, you're gonna click Places to Stay. Boom, simple. From there, you're gonna tell them when you're checking in and when you're checking out. and you're gonna tell Disney how many people are coming with you. They wanna know if it's a party, if it's more romantic, if it's a solo trip. After that, you're gonna hit find resorts, and Disney's gonna show you the availability of everything that is popping up. So if you've chosen one specific one, of course you're gonna look for it, but if you're still a little bit on the fence and you know what time you wanna be here, Disney's gonna give you those options and show you the availability. And from this point, Disney is gonna offer you essentially a ticket package with your room. It's pretty clear. You're either gonna pick the ticket package that you want to go with your room, or you're just gonna pick the hotel rate. You can do either one. It's super clear on the website. Just the room, smaller number. With tickets, bigger number. It'll be hard to kind of miss that. All right, so then you choose and you hit checkout. And you type in your card information, and then boom, you're done. You're coming to Disney World. It's official. And that's it. That's how you did it on the website. The second option is also fairly easy, but you can actually call someone. Because sometimes if you're not as well versed online, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So sometimes talking to a Disney cast member and telling them what you want is a lot easier for some people. So you're actually gonna call the Disney Resort reservation line. It's 407-939-1936. So that's the resort number, you're gonna call it. And it's pretty much the same process. You're gonna tell them when you're coming, what resort you wanna stay at, or if you just have a budget, you can tell them when you're coming and they'll kind of give you those same options. And sometimes they can even find you pretty good deals. So there's pros and cons to both. I personally love just being able to do it myself, scroll through and kind of have a visual, but everyone is different. So let's talk tickets. Emma?
I'm here on Monorail Red. Let's talk about tickets and purchasing them. When it comes to booking your tickets for Disney World, things are actually pretty simple. There are multiple kinds of tickets. So there's your OG park ticket. It's simple. You're gonna have a park hopper. That's kind of an upgraded ticket that lets you go to multiple parks per day. Then you're gonna have the park hopper plus option, which is they'll let you go to multiple parks per day and the water parks. There are also like annual pass tickets, which I have if you're interested in that, but you also have special ticketed events here at Disney World that are not included in your normal park ticket. So like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, Jollywood Nights, any of the after hours events, those are all special ticketed events which you will need if you want to do in addition to your normal park day.
So you can buy them in a package when you're selecting your room. As you're checking out, it's gonna offer you that Disney vacation package that we just talked about a little bit ago, and you can kind of select your amount of tickets and what tickets you want, and then just check out with your room and tickets all at once, and then that's it, and you're done. If you decide to stay off property though, you are gonna need to buy those tickets with no rooms, and you can go to the Walt Disney World website and click parks and tickets to start that process. You're gonna scroll down, you're gonna hit tickets and admissions, and that's where you're gonna find all of your ticket options. You're gonna tell it what you want and the number of days you're heading to the parks. Then you're gonna make sure to click on the calendar of when you're gonna be able to use those tickets. After that, you're gonna put in how many tickets you're gonna need for adults and kiddos, and just like that, you're done. If you do that process, you're gonna have what's called a date-based ticket, meaning Disney basically knows like when you're gonna be there. You kind of give them a range of when you're gonna use those tickets. Sorry, that was such a long trek back from the monorail. It was crazy. Dining reservations, that's what's next, naturally, because we know where we're staying, we know how many tickets we have, and so now we need to learn where we're gonna eat. That's my personal favorite part. So let's talk dining reservations. Now, when it comes to dining in Disney World, there are a lot of places, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, it can be a little bit stressful, because it's like, how do I choose? There's hundreds and maybe thousands, and I can't eat that much. And you know what? You're right. You can't eat that much. So we're gonna talk about some advanced dining reservations. Do you remember that? Our vocabulary from earlier, ADR. So for those advanced dining reservations, you can actually book them up to 60 days in advance of the first day of your park stay or of your resort stay. So that window is gonna open up 60 days in advance at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. You need to have your alarm set. I cannot tell you how many times I have literally had an alarm set waiting, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but I'm also in the dark with my phone in my face. This is my Olympics. This is my go time. Now, the thing that's really exciting is there are so many places to choose from, and we do have a lot of reviews up on the channel. So if there's anything you're interested in or anything that you're just curious about, type in AllEars.net, little space, and then put in a certain type of restaurant. or anything that you want to know more about. The blog will have that answer, and we probably have a review up on the channel right now. Now, lounges and quick services don't actually offer this type of reservation. Lounges and quick services don't really need it. So you don't really have to worry about those. You just need to worry about those nice sit-down dining reservations, which most people don't even do every day. You might just do one or two really nice ones. It just kind of depends on that budget that we talked about earlier. So to book, you're gonna head to the Walt Disney World website and you're gonna click things to do. From there, you can actually click make a reservation and select how many people there are in your party. I kind of personally recommend being on a little bit before 6, just so that way you're ready, you have all your info in, kind of like a virtual queue. You just wanna have your info in before they actually drop, because it gets ugly. I'll be honest. From there, you can select your date and your preferred time, so that way Disney can kind of tell you what options are available right then and there. You're gonna select your time in your restaurant, and you're gonna tell them any of your dietary restrictions, and then you're gonna have to go to the confirmation page. Now, you've done the hard part at this point. If you make it to the confirmation page, you're doing great, okay? But don't slip up. Don't make this mistake, okay? Make sure you have your credit card in your hand before you get there, or you have your numbers memorized. If you do, kudos to you. I couldn't do that. But if you don't have your credit card and you don't have the numbers memorized, you're making a mistake. You could lose your reservation at this point. So first things first, you probably already logged into your My Disney Experience login on the website. If you haven't, make sure you do that before your 60 days and before your 6 a.m. just so that way you're ready, like we talked about. If you're already logged in, they will fill out that contact page for you. If you're not logged in, it's not the end of the world. You can go ahead and fill out that contact page right then and there. Now, this is where it's gonna be tricky. Have your credit card ready, okay? Even if it's on your My Disney, because you just never know if you're gonna need it. And this is important because you do actually have to pay. It's $1. It's just a hold on your card. You're not like giving them money yet. You do have to pay for your card hold. You have to pay to have your reservation held. And if you don't have that, you could lose that reservation that you're really excited about. Even though you don't get charged for it, they just need the hold. Because if you don't show up, they are gonna charge you $10 per person. And you might think, oh, it's $10. And then you pay for your whole family and you're like, whoa, I paid $50 for something I didn't go to. So go to your reservations or cancel them. You have a 2-hour grace window. Just cancel it. Now, I will say also, kind of like a little asterisk side note, there are a few meals that you do need to pay for up front. So like Cinderella's Royal Table is one that's coming to mind. You do need to prepay before you go, but then it's paid for when you get there. But all in all, the lesson there is have your credit card ready. Then hit confirm and you're golden, baby. You just got gold. You won the Disney World Olympics because you got the dining reservations you wanted. Now, I will say you do not have to do this on your computer if you don't want to. It's just a preferred preference for some people. You can also do it on the My Disney Experience app on your phone. Oh my gosh, we're talking about that again? Yeah, it's that important. So this is going to be a very similar process if you do it over on your phone. Pretty simple. Have your card, be ready, be ready. Another note I want to say is it is tough to get a lot of those reservations. There are some really hard dining reservations that are very popular, and you might not get it on the first try, but my main note is do not give up hope there. Because of that 2-hour reservation cancellation, like people cancel a lot of times last minute, or sometimes you can get a walk-up. You'll be really surprised. Don't count yourself out until it's literally the day after your trip and you've gone home. Because until then, there's still a chance. Now, if you are not getting those dining reservations that you really, really want no matter what, and it's getting a little bit close, my personal favorite thing to do is to stop by a lounge kind of last minute. There is almost always available seating if you get there around the right times. There are really some incredible lounges around Disney World, and I think they also offer like a really good bang for your buck. But I also know some people like to be planners, and I'm a planner, so I really understand and respect that. There's only one more thing to really, really talk about, so I'm bringing in the big guns. Okay, well, we're down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about getting ready for the trip. Let's talk about trip prep. Now, if you don't know, my name is Uma, not Thurman, but good guess. We're gonna talk about prepping for your trips together. So prepping from home, mainly outside of the things we've already discussed, is really, it's gonna come down to what are you packing? What are you bringing? Are you prepared? So first you have to decide how you're getting here. Plane, boat, car ride, roller skates. There are lots of options. After that, you can kind of decide what you're packing because you're gonna know how much room you have. If you have roller skates, you're probably just gonna be able to bring a backpack. Because we wanna make this a little bit easier on you, we actually have a full list of things that you should pack. Right here, we'll put it in the description below, of everything that you and your family and actually you guys at home recommend bringing. This is a collective list from our team and from you guys at home. In the description, you don't even have to do your own packing list. We've already done it for you. I don't know really where this voice is coming from, so. My personal main suggestions as someone who goes to the parks literally all the time is the comfiest tennis shoes that you can get your hands on. That's gonna depend on you per person. I love my On Clouds. I love them. They're over on AllEars Style, which we actually really recommend. We have tons of different suggestions for different seasons of when you're here and different things that you might not think that you're gonna need. So check out AllEars Style. My favorite tennis shoes and Quincy's favorite shoes and Fry's favorite shoes are all linked over on AllEars Style on Instagram. I also always recommend a rain jacket. It doesn't matter the time of year. It's Orlando, it's probably raining. I also have a sweatshirt even during the summer because temperatures can be wonky or your room could be cold. Always bring a portable phone charger. As you can see, we've talked a lot about the Disney app today. You're gonna be using your phone a lot and you're gonna be taking a lot of pictures and videos because it's your trip of a lifetime. We always like to have our water bottles with us. Breed Love disagrees. It's totally up to you. I know that if I don't have water in my hands at all time, I'm not gonna drink some. I'm not gonna go out of my way to get it unless I'm absolutely dying. And if you're already there, you probably needed it way before this moment. So personally for me, I like to have a water bottle. While you're packing, we do recommend this really cute channel. It's on YouTube. They have a lot of like tips and tricks and suggestions, and it's called AllEars.net, and you should definitely check it out because they have some good ways to help plan the rest of your trip and figure out your priorities. Now, speaking of priorities, that is one thing that we absolutely recommend doing. For me, my favorite thing to tell people is to pick your 3 must-dos per park. 3 kind of seems low, but during those busy times, and if you're not purchasing Genie Plus, it can actually be really helpful to have 3 because 3 is a really easy number to guarantee. Once you have your top 3, anything outside of that number is going to be just like bonuses, the cherry on top, kind of your little bonus list. So like when you're going to Magic Kingdom, for me, my top 3 are probably Space Mountain, Pirates, and Happily Ever After. And like those are 3 things, no matter how busy, that you can do for sure. So then anything after that, anything off of your bonus list is just gonna be really nice. Like, oh, that's so nice. I didn't expect we get to do that, but we did. And we got to do what we wanted. So win, 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 all over the place. Also having these like expectations just really makes it so that way your trip is a lot more realistic. You have realistic expectations, so that way anything after the fact is just exciting. And sometimes if you have a list that is too long and you don't get to complete it, it can be disappointing. So sometimes just managing those expectations is what's gonna make your trip even better. But if you're not quite sure where to start on all of that, we have tons of perfect days in every single park in every single different way that you can kind of go and watch and figure out what you're interested in and what you're not while you're making those priority lists. And the last thing after you've done all of that, nothing. You're at Disney World. We're so excited to have you here. Your countdown, it was long, but you made it. And now you're here. We can't wait to see you. We've been waiting for what feels like forever, but it was all worth it. And we're so excited to have you with us. And I have to say, you've done it well. You've done everything you could. And I think now it's time that the student has become the master. Welcome to the AllEars team, kids. If you guys like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Now you can go check out our full coverage of the Disney Dining Plan, which is recently returned up on the channel right now. I'll see you there.